Hi, my name is Martha St. Clair, and in 1974 I had the most amazing near-death experience, and it's my true pleasure to share it with you today because it totally changed my life, and I feel like it's a story that perhaps will inspire you and certainly lend to have food for thought. So I was a young divorced woman at the time. I was water skiing in the Sacramento River Delta area, and I was a good swimmer and I was a good water skier. And I was going along for the last water ski of the day, and I had two friends in the boat, and one was supposed to be the watcher watching me. So I was going along, and by some freak accident, I fell down, and the rope twisted behind my left arm and dragged me behind the boat, which would have not been too bad, except the watcher was not watching me. They were drinking beer, and I continued to be dragged behind the boat. And pretty soon, I evidently had what you would call a classic near-death experience. Now, at the time, I knew nothing about near-death experience, but I certainly knew that I was in a place of danger. My arm was hurting, I was being dragged along, and pretty soon, I'm finding my spirit out of my body. And I found myself looking down, seeing myself going behind this boat. And what happened after that was quite amazing. I experienced being in a dark tunnel. The tunnel felt familiar, it felt comfortable, it was dark, as they say, often in these stories, and I was isolated, but I wasn't afraid because I had the feeling I have done this before. I have done this before. And I went through the tunnel and my spirit came out, and when I came out of the tunnel, I was surrounded by the most beautiful flowers. Glorious, colorful flowers like you don't see on earth, hues and colors that I can't even really explain to myself now and cannot really explain to you, but they were gorgeous. So I went through this area of flowers, and pretty soon I found myself out in the universe. It was full of stars and galaxies, and it was just the most glorious, gorgeous thing that you can possibly imagine. And you know what? It seemed familiar. It seemed comfortable. It didn't seem unusual, and it wasn't the least bit frightening. And I felt like I was in this heavenly, divine place, and I was just so happy to be there. Had no concerns about my body, no concerns about what was going on earth whatsoever. Now, when people talk about these experiences, they often describe other places. They'll see meadows, they'll see a heavenly-like place, they'll see a place full of light. Perhaps they're in a place that looks a little gray. They may see Aunt Mary. They may see Jesus. They see whatever they see. In my experience, I had this being appear before me, and his name was Melchizedek, and I knew that. And when you're in this heavenly space, you know things by thought processes. You know what each other is thinking, and it was simple and natural and wonderful. And he was beautiful. He had big blue eyes, he had a beard, a gray beard, he had like a turban around his head, he was dressed in gold and velvet and green, and he was gorgeous, and I felt like I knew him forever. And he looked ancient and young at the same time. And he said to me, "Are you ready to come?" It was just simple as that. And in that moment, I remembered that my soul chose to come to earth. I remembered where I was before I was born. I remembered that all of our souls choose to come here, that this is a wonderful university, that we're not here by random accident, we're not here as victims, that we come here to choose, to study, to learn, and to grow. And that on some level, this is like a wonderful theater. It's like a big university, we all play our part, and when our time to go comes, we leave. Now, oftentimes souls are told it is not their time, they need to go back, and of course some souls are told it is their time, and off they go. In my case, I had a choice, and my first reaction was, no, I can't go, because I felt like I flunked Earth. And at the time I was in my early 20s, and I felt like my spirit was not, my personality was not in alignment with my spirit. And I could see that my soul path was far greater than I had been living at that point. And Melchizedek was surrounded in the most glorious, beautiful light that you can imagine, and all I can say that this was being in the realm of God. It's a place of beyond male, female, God. God got us all that is. It's like liquid love. It's light, it's divine peace, it's beauty, there are simply no words to describe this heavenly place. And being enveloped in that light changed my whole life. And as you may have heard in other stories, when people are in that light, they don't want to come back. Because in that moment you have an awakening. In that moment you often remember who you are. You remember so many things, and you have access to divine knowledge, and you have access to all the mysteries of the universe. And in my case, I saw that there's a divine plan for Earth. There's a reason for being here. And on some level we are not victims at all. And God loves us eternally. There is no final judgment. And when you're in that light, you see who you are completely, you see your flaws, you see your gifts, and you judge yourself because everything is reflected back to you. There's so much more I could say about that, but my main purpose in sharing this with you is to tell you that there is no reason to fear death. You cannot die. The body dies, you lay down the body, your spirit goes on, you simply cannot die. And so you have so much to look forward to, and it's important to know, I believe, of this consciousness, because consciousness attracts consciousness. Now let me share with you some other things briefly that happened while I was there. I saw a beautiful temple of light. It was surrounded in gold. I could see gorgeous colors around it, and I could see through the temple that there were beings that were studying in white robes and studying and learning, just like we would here, and they looked just like us. I could also see that there was a border of light, and I knew I could not go past that place, or I would be sucked into this wonderful light, which was my true home, and I could not come back here. Also, Melchizedek helped me to make my choice whether I was going to stay or not. So the first reason I chose to come back was I could see that I had some maturing to do spiritually. I could see I had a life purpose. I could see that all souls have a life purpose. And I also chose to come back because I wanted to be with my son. Now, I know oftentimes that children lose parents. I lost my father when I was very little, and it may seem like there's no divine plan to that, and it's very painful when we lose a loved one. But I want to share with you that I could see there's a higher purpose to all of this, and we each can accept that perhaps in our own time. I also could see that I didn't want my friends to suffer and to have the guilt that they would feel if I were to die, and I was able to see that that would happen. So the story is much longer than that, but in the interest of time, I hope that my story gives you some inspiration and some peace, because we are in a great place of transition on the earth. We're rising into a whole new dimension. We're really ascending our spiritual bodies on earth, and it's no accident if you're living now, no matter how hard your life may be. You are on earth, you have a purpose, and we are here to co-create heaven on earth. We are here to share and to heal each other into the light. And so if I'm connecting with you today, I just want you to know that you're a beautiful being of light. You're a true soul that comes from another place. This is far beyond religion or mumbo-jumbo semantics or anything else. And you have the opportunity to trust your soul, to have faith and beauty in yourself, and to know that if you have lost a loved one, that you can know that they have gone home, and that when they leave their physical body, they are no longer in pain, no matter how much they suffered from an accident or an illness or whatever has happened to them that may cause you worry or fear. They are out of their body and they are free in the light, and you can still connect with them. You can ask that they come to you, that there's prayers, there's hope, there's some way of connecting perhaps if that is supposed to be. Lastly, in closing, I'd like to share with you that this is my joy in life to do this. I do lecture on near-death experience. I do counseling. I'd be happy to just connect with you in any way that I can help you, because I know what it's like to feel separate on earth, to feel alone, and I know that we have a divine spiritual family, and we are all one. No matter what race, what sex, what station you are in life, we are one, and it's time to let go of spiritual amnesia, to remember that we are in this together to love Mother Earth and each other. Thank you.